Hey Tinkers! It is high time we get ourselves a comprehensive overview of what it takes to get into robotics. Now before I jump into this, let me share with you a little bit more about my background. I got my education in digital entertainment and game design. Whoop whoop! Through the course of my studies, I learned very quickly that if you want to make a game any more complex than Pong, you're going to need to get a group of people together that are each specialized in different fields. Fields such as programming, art, and game design. But even within those fields, you can have a slew of various disciplines, many of which overlap. For example, in programming, you can have AI, networking, optimization, game engine, tools, content pipeline. I'm going to stop myself right there because this is a robotics channel, not a game design channel. But you can see how quickly we can dive deep into a rabbit hole on these things. Well, Tinkers, robotics isn't much different. If you're going to want to make any kind of really awesome robot, then you're going to need to know at least a little bit of the following: electronics, mechanics, software, art, and engineering. Now I'd like to take a moment and start breaking down some of these categories with you, starting with electronics. Electronics is all about learning how to control electrons. Lightning bolts! As it stands now, we use electricity to power practically everything we use. Yeah, I know, duh. So building something with a custom use or power needs, such as a robot, will require you to know how to get the appropriate amount of power from a power source to that particular part of the robot. Next is mechanics. Mechanics deals with the motion of and forces on objects. A master of mechanics can turn two cranking wheels into this beautiful green mechanical monster. On to software. So one of the biggest reasons why we have robots in the first place is so they can do the things that we don't want to do. Now, even the most mundane tasks require that you think at least a little bit. And software allows the robots to have the ability to think at least a little bit. Moving on to art. Wait, art? At first glance, something like art doesn't seem to fit into such a technical field like robotics. But at the risk of sounding corny, art is all around us. Let's go ahead and take Bruce here for an example. You have to have a 3D artist to go in and make what he looks like. Now, he probably took his designs and handed it off to a mechanical engineer, who then took it and made sure it could keep balance. But I'm pretty sure that the mechanical engineer couldn't have made Bruce look as cool as he does. And lastly, engineering. Now, engineering in this case isn't so much its own separate discipline as it is a way of thinking that must be applied in all of the other fields. A great example of how to think of engineering is to think Legos. Here you are given blocks that fit together in certain ways. There may be something particular that you want to make. This means that you have to work within the constraints presented to you to reach your desired outcome. So rather than going out and learning engineering by itself, it's a good idea to learn how to engineer within the fields of study that are required for robotics. Okay, Tinkers, here's what I'm going to do. If you recall from my last video, I had told you about how to learn just about anything in 20 hours. I'm actually going to take that and apply them to these separate fields. Now, since I am already comfortable with software engineering, I'm just going to go ahead and check that off the list. And since we'll be striving to apply the principles of engineering to all of these topics, we'll not be focusing on engineering by itself. So that leaves us with electronics, mechanics, and art. Now, since our band of Tinkers has grown to be 2 to the 6th power, thank you so much for subscribing, by the way, I thought I'd leave the choice up to you guys. What would you like me to spend my first 20 hours on? Let me know in the comments below. Liking and upvoting others' comments will sway the outcome. So until next time, keep on tinkering.